So 2 days ago, I asked my audience to send in their Loom videos so I can review them for the first time here on camera. And let's just say I wasn't ready for what I got. So we ended up getting 6 submissions in from 5 different countries. All these guys with different levels of experience, different backgrounds, and different approaches. And almost immediately, I noticed some of the biggest mistakes that appointment setters like you are making in your Loom videos. And these are the mistakes that you're making that are costing you interviews, that are costing you roles, and costing you money. We also had one applicant who threw the entire brief away and just decided to send their whole resume. Not just a Loom video, their entire setter resume. And this is a question that we get a lot, and if you're wondering if you should do the same thing as well, we're gonna find out in today's video. If you stick to the end of the video, you will see what an almost 10 out of 10 Loom video will look like. And this actually came in from one of the applicants as well. So today we're gonna break down all 6 applicants, all 6 videos, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the things that I would personally change as if I was coaching them. And if right now you're looking for an offer, I want you to watch this video before you send another outreach message. If you don't know me already, my name is Matt Jacob. I've done appointment setting for almost 4.5 years, not just for my own business, but also for other offers, other businesses as well. I've generated over $500,000 in revenue, and I've also been documenting the journey on my YouTube channel. And appointment setting was the same skill set that allowed me to leave my hometown in the UK, to not have to continue university, and to be able to live life on my own terms in Southeast Asia. Right now I'm in Manila, and being able to wake up, live life on my own terms, and take care of the people around me, as well as documenting the journey and sharing the lessons that I've learned along the way, so I can be the big brother for you guys who are stepping into this journey as well. So you don't have to make the same mistakes as me when I first started, and you can start moving closer to your dream life through this beautiful thing called appointment setting. So without further ado, let's take a look at these Loom videos and give my 100% honest thoughts. Alright guys, so we have the first applicant here. His name's Richard. He sent this over on my IG. So let's take a look. And he said, don't go easy. Like, be completely honest. So I will do that, Richard. Let's open this up. Let's take a look. So far off the bat, he's got good lighting, good presentation, and a good background. He's wearing something nice. Now you might think this shit doesn't matter, but it really does. This is the 1% things that people pay attention to, like high-level business owners, because you just want to look presentable, okay? You want to make sure that you're not filming in somewhere dark, you're not looking like an absolute scrub. These things can easily be controlled, and this could actually make the difference between you getting an offer, them looking through your whole Loom video, and then getting accepted to the next stage of hiring. So these things do matter. So Richard, so far so good. Let's actually play the content now and see if the content is actually up to par. So let's go.
Alright Matt, my name is Richard. I'm based out in the UK and I'm excited to be your fucking setter. So a little bit about me, my experience when it comes to sales. I've been in a dialing offer, US based. It was a catering service. There was training involved. It was phenomenal. One thing I didn't like about the offer, there was no objection handling. Like I said, it was catering services. I want to get good at objection handling. I want to get good at sales. I see myself being a closer 6 months down the line. What separates me from other people?
All right, so off the bat, Richard, brother, good energy. You got good, you're projecting your voice. You've got good confidence, but the main thing I noticed so far is that you're kind of looking around the room. It sounds like you're trying to think of the things to say, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I suggest people to do all the time is to practice it a few times, so it doesn't look like you're fidgety and it doesn't look like you're not confident. You're trying to think of the next thing to say. You know exactly what to say, and at least along the lines of it. So another thing I like to tell people is to have bullet points. So instead of a whole script and then trying to stick to it word for word, have a general guideline of what you're going to say. So have that prepped out, have it in front of you, maybe on a notes app, so it looks like you're still talking to the camera. Because one of the things I'm looking for is that you're looking directly to the camera, just like this, instead of looking around the room, kind of like this.
The offer, objection handling, catering, sales,
kind of like that, you know? You can do it a couple times, but not too many times, and we're already 30 seconds in, and that's something I picked up. So it just kind of signals like you're trying to find the words to say, you're not sure in yourself. So that's one thing I would fix up on. Second thing is, what I will say is, that's a good intro. That was a good hook. You know, no one really has the balls to say, hey Matt, I'm looking to be your fucking setter. Here's why. So straight into that enthusiasm, that's what I like.
US based. It was a catering service. There was training involved. It was phenomenal. One thing I didn't like about the offer, there was no objection handling. Like I said, it was catering services. I want to get good at objection handling. I want to get good at sales. I see myself being a clerk.
I mean, all of that is good. What I would also wanted to hear was more like details. So how long were you working at that catering offer for, catering services? How much cash did you generate? What were your KPIs? How many sales were you looking to make? Were you trying to make per day? Instead of going over it briefly and then just going straight into like what went wrong with the offer, what you didn't like about the offer. So I would have liked to hear some more backbone numbers. And if you don't have any concrete numbers or results, just say that. It's okay to be honest, and then you can jump into why you had to hop off that offer or what you're looking for.
Those are 6 months down the line. What separates me from other people is I've invested in a mentorship. I can't ask someone to invest in themselves if I haven't done so already.
Okay, that's a good line. The thing is, I have heard that before because I made an Instagram reel, I'll put it here, where someone used that line on me when I watched their Loom. And it was pretty good, but I think, you know, I've heard it this is the second time I've heard it. If you guys are gonna hit me with a Loom video, then and saying that line again, it's not gonna work as well, but it's still good if you're being honest. So number one, what makes you stand out is you've invested in mentorships. That's good, but I would go into like who you're being mentored by, what have they taught you, how are they gonna support you? Just whatever you need to do to make it stand out and seem real.
That I'm in is full of killers. People who hold me accountable every day. That's how I stay disciplined. Another thing about me, I've done kickboxing for 2 to 3 years, so I understand if you want to see growth, you stick at something long term and you listen to people by shutting the fuck up, and that's how you just get better. That's how you learn. Motivations, I want to be able to move out my town.
Okay, that was good. That was good. So you mentioned he does kickboxing as well, and how that links to remote sales, how that links to appointment setting. So if you're going to do kickboxing, like for example, if you do kickboxing, if you do martial arts, you know you have to be coachable, right? Instead of just saying what everyone says, which is be hard work, like I'm hardworking, I'm a hustler, I'm a coachable, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. What I suggest is that you find different ways in your life that would make it sound a bit more unique while conveying those values. So for example, the gym, for example, kickboxing, if you do martial arts, for example, if you did a marathon in your past. So these things, they're going to indirectly convey the traits that you have that you can apply to sales or setting without having you to just say, hey, I'm hungry, I'm coachable, I'm a hard worker. So if you did sports, if you were a captain in your team, if you've done some amazing achievements, feel free to mention that in this video. And also, it does another thing. It also personalizes you. It makes you more unique because not many people do Muay Thai. Not many people have run a marathon. Not many people have done the things that you have done in the past. So that also humanizes you and makes you more unique. And what I like about this part about Richard's Loom so far is he's just being authentic. He's just being his authentic self. And he's probably a cool person to work with in the team, but just needs a little bit of training. But that's what I like so far about Richard is he's just conveying his actual personality. He's not faking who he is, but he's also keeping to a certain structure.
I associate this town with a lot of limiting beliefs that I've had previously. I want to scrap all of that and move into a new town and overall just become a better son, a better brother, and a better man. Yeah, this is my Loom, and again, I'm excited to be your setter.
All right, Richard, good stuff. I would say towards the end as well, be more specific. Guys, if you can be more specific with your Loom videos. So for example, in this section, he talked about his motivations. Why does he want to get into setting? What is he hoping to achieve with setting? Instead of just saying, I want to move out my hometown, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to help my family. That's great and all. And again, this might be true for you. However, if you can dive more into the specifics, Richard, so, how much do you need to make? How much do you want to make in appointment setting? Where do you want to move to? What's your timeline for this? How long do you want to stay as a setter before you get into closing? What are some ways you can make this last part a bit more specific? Again, this will just humanize you a lot more and make you more unique. But all in all, Richard, this was a good Loom so far, and I'll be pretty happy with that. I'd say just make those next few tweaks, keep the basics, and then you'll be good to go. That'll be one killer Loom video. Okay, so up next, we have our guy Jared here, who also submitted his Loom. Let's take a look at this. Let's be objective about it. And if you're watching this, Jared, it's all love, all feedback, but let's take a look at your Loom. So far, I think you're from the Philippines. I can tell you're from the Philippines. I actually looked at his profile very briefly. So I will say this, like I said with Daniel, make sure the background is on point, make sure the lighting's on point. It looks like you filmed this at night. I probably would have just waited to film this in the morning or in the afternoon, and maybe just go somewhere like outside where it's a bit more aesthetic in the background. You have good lighting. So that's the first thing I would say, but let's take a look at this.
Good evening. I'm Jared Vincent. I'm based from the Philippines, and I came across this company to possibly land myself a role as an appointment setter and eventually work my way up to become a closer for the company's revenue. And I've been into high ticket sales for the last 4 months, and most of my time has been focused on the core skills associated with sales, such as objection handling, tonality, and framing, and how to actually communicate the prospects without triggering their defenses, and engaging into role plays where everything I learned were applied, role plays with actual objections and all those stuff. And I don't have that much of experience yet, such like years of experience.
Okay, so far, Jared, brother, I would say, it's all in the presentation. It sounds harsh, but presentation really does matter here. So like I said, I probably would have waited till the next day when there was like natural light to film this, and then also maybe somewhere else in the house or somewhere in a park. I don't know, but so far in terms of what you're saying, even if you're just starting out, don't look at the glass half empty, look at the glass half full. So don't look at, and you don't have to mention what you don't have already, which is experience. I want you guys to look at the glass half full. I want you guys to look at what you do have already. So this is what Jared did. He said, he has 4 months in this space. He's done this training, he's done that training, he's done objection handling, he's done role plays. Whatever you guys have done, put that to the forefront of your videos first and your Loom video. Don't just focus and say, I don't have experience. You can say the same thing. This is another tactic. You guys can say the same thing in a different way. And if you can say it in a sexier way, that's even better. That's always going to be the best bet. So instead of saying, I don't have experience, just say, I'm starting out. Instead of saying, I'm hardworking and I'm coachable, talk about other things that you've done in your life that show that you are hardworking and coachable. You know what I mean? So let's continue.
But I've been putting serious time into sales training, and I'm at the point where I want real reps, real accountability, and a team to grow with. And
We need more confidence there. So, less pauses. There's nothing wrong with pausing before speaking, but you can tell when someone's pausing because they don't know what to say or they're uncomfortable. So I would just work on the confidence. Again, maybe have a nice shirt as well. Just maybe dress up in a polo. This is just a Loom video, guys. This is only one take, and if you can get that one take perfect, then you won't have to touch your Loom video for another couple weeks or months. Right? So I'd say it's worth the effort. The confidence could be improved, just projecting your voice a bit more. Maybe as well, if you guys can get a mic, like if you guys can go to the extent of getting a mic like this, I know not everyone can, but do what you need to do, get a mic so your voice can be heard a lot better. It kind of comes across like you're not as confident in yourself, in your skills. It doesn't matter if you're starting out as well or you have experience. If you don't have that confidence, then you've already lost like 80% of it.
produce actual results for the company. And one thing that actually separate
Okay, I wouldn't have had a notification play in the background, so make sure you're on D&D as well. Make sure you're on Do Not Disturb when you film your Looms, guys.
separates me from a lot of beginners at like my level right now is that I'm highly adaptive. Another thing is I'm creative when it comes to making up questions in my mind and giving actual answers whenever.
Okay, we need examples, guys. We need examples. Because if you're not going to give it on the Loom, they're going to give it on the interview. They're going to ask you, hey, can you give an example of when you were adaptive? Can you give an example when you were coachable? So I would just make it easier for the employer and just mention like one or two examples of what trait you're trying to convey. So if you're adaptive, okay, what's one example that you were adaptive in the past? Like what did you do in your last offer? What did you do in life that makes you say you're adaptive,
Like objections or questions come up for me in the sales call, and I'm actually a quick thinker, and I'm willing to take coaching, handle volume and improve fast, and I'm actually results driven. That's why I chose a commission based offer rather than finding myself an offer I can get a based payment. And I've so far from the training I've done, I've built a solid foundation with the core skills involved with sales, and I'd love to be judged like based on my coachability, work ethic, and um,
Yeah, I think the problem is, Jared, is just this dragging on for too long now. We're at the 2 minute mark. You're still looking around the wall. You're trying to find things to say. So Main things is just tightening this up, like even go through AI. So guys, what you can do is you can go to AI, you can go to ChatGPT, or you can go to Claude, and then just feed in your Loom script and then ask AI, hey, how can I make this more concise? And it'll give you a new revised script that you can use, so it doesn't go over 90 seconds, but you're still getting across the best part of your trades and why they should hire you, if that makes sense.
My time, like the time I need in order to improve. And if you guys are looking for someone that's actually hungry and results driven kind of guy, then I'd love to speak with you guys, hop on an interview sometime.
Okay, and then I'm very picky about this, but the last part you can just cut out of you trying to turn off the camera. But all in all, I would say, if I had to say 1 to 10, Jared, like if you're watching this, Jared, just, again, all love, but I would say like a 6, because I probably, like I said, it's all in the presentation. If you had just waited in the morning or early in the day to film this when it was, you know, bright outside, when you're maybe wearing something a bit better, or you're just presenting yourself a lot better, then it would have made all the difference, actually. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the confidence. A lot of guys struggle with confidence in their looms. Like, I get it, you're nervous, do whatever you need to do to make sure your confidence is up there and your conviction is there in yourself, okay? Because you gotta understand, I want you guys to have the mentality that you're applying for your dream role, your dream offer. So whatever would make a dream offer, let's say it's going to make you 5K a month OTE. Let's say it's completely remote. There's a path to becoming a closer. Whatever the traits are of your ideal offer, I want you to take it very, very seriously and act as if you're making your Loom video as if you're applying for that dream offer. That should be the standard of how good your Loom video should be. Because a Loom is all it takes. A good or a bad Loom video is all it takes for you to get on a roll that's amazing, that's going to change your life, versus getting rejected and ignored. So Jared, I would say a 6 out of 10. Just improve the presentation and make sure you're just coming across a bit more confident, and then cut down on the Loom time. So at least 90 seconds maximum. But on to the next one. Okay, next we have Inez. So let's take a look, Inez, at your Loom video. And then so far off the bat, I remember this because you sent it to me a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago. So off the bat, presentation's there, good lighting, so far so good. Again, I'm just gonna be nitpicky because I did say that at the start. Maybe somewhere there's a bit less clutter. So I know this is your bookshelf, but it kind of is distracting away from you. So you guys always want to be the focus. So if you can have like a white wall. Again, I'm just nitpicking. You feel free to disagree, but that's my personal preference. But lighting's good, and then let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Inês from Portugal. Hope you are doing well. I want to make this Loom to apply for this role in specific because I want to be an appointment setter a full-time, making this my career. I love helping people to solve their problems. I want to really build connection with them, understand why they feel stuck instead just following a script. I would love to work remotely and start making 2K per month for the company and for the team, and more than that, of course. The reason I want to work with you is because I'm aligned with your values and I'm looking for an environment that I can grow professionally, and I think this is the right place for me. The values I can bring to the company, from my job, I bring difference.
If you guys aren't already familiar with my Loom video framework, it's basically a 4 to 5 step process. So number 1, you want to have your intro. So, hey, my name's Matt. And then number 2 is going to be your intention. So why are you making this video in the first place? I'm making this video in regards to if you have an appointment setting position. So that's number 2. So who you are, what's your intention. Number 3 is going to be the bulk of your Loom video, which is your past experience. Again, if you don't have past experience, you can look at authority hijacking. I'll link a video up here on how to authority hijack. But if you have experience, talk about it, whether that's in remote sales, whether that's on a previous offer, that's in a remote setting, whether that's in an in-person sales job. This is the time to flex. This is the time to talk about your previous numbers, your KPIs, your performance, how long you've worked with that company for, etc., etc. So that's number 3, is your experience. Number 4 is going to be what makes you stand out, as well as your personal story. What actually sets you apart from the other applicants applying for this offer? Because you got to understand, these offers, they get a lot of applicants, especially if it's a really good offer. So you have a lot of stiff competition. So you have to think in yourself, what would make me stand out and make me the only option for them to hire me out of all these other people who maybe have more experience, who have more hunger, more confidence? What can I do and what can I leverage to make sure that I get hired? So that's number 4. What I would also add to that is a personal story. So personal story or a personal why is what's going to really humanize you from the rest of the applicants. So if you have a burning desire to get on our offer and crush it in setting, talk about what that desire is. So maybe it's to move out of your hometown. Maybe it's to help your family. Maybe it's to improve your skill set. Maybe it's to get into a future business. I don't know what it is for you guys, but if you can include a little snippet of what is your personal burning why, that's really going to help with humanizing yourself. And then number 5 is going to be a CTA, so a call to action. What do you want them to do when they watch this Loom video? Do you want them to book an interview with you? Do you want them to reply back to you? I'll let you make that call, but the CTA at the end is very important, so they know what to do after watching your Loom video. So that is the 5-step process. What I wish Ines, I don't know how you pronounce it, would have done is, if you had past experience, I would have said that first before getting into why you want to become a setter. If you don't have past experience, like I said, you can just authority hijack, or you can just move on to what makes you stand out.
Skills, one of them is handling objections and frustrations. People come at me with many problems and frustrated. I listen their pain points, and after that I show the solution, where they can make the appointment, which document they have to bring. So what I'm saying is, I'm very resilient. I have a good communication, I learn fast, I have a strong work ethic, I can work every day, even after weekends, and I don't give up until I hit my target. So I feel like I will try.
Again, what we need, guys, is we need specific examples from your life. So for example, what can you prove, or what experiences prove that you have a strong work ethic? How can you back it up? What proves that you have good communication? If you had past experience, talk about that. So I would have more specific examples, because the problem is, without that, you're just gonna sound like everyone else, which is what we don't want happening.
Weekends, and I don't give up until I hit my target. So I feel like I will transition very well into an appointment setting role. I have invested in a mentorship, because if I'm going to ask.
So that's good. If you guys have invested in a mentor, whether that's me or that's someone else, that's always something you want to bring up, just because you're going to get the upper hand over people who haven't invested in a mentor. Again, it sounds harsh, and this is not just me trying to sell my program. They're just going to have the upper hand, because they're always going to have more support. They're going to have more accountability. They're going to have more community and more connections. So if you can bring that up, and then they can check who the mentor is, and if they're trusted, that's going to give the upper hand.
The prospect to invest in themselves, so I need to have done it, and I have the prospect invested in a mentorship, because if I'm going to ask the prospect to invest in themselves, so I need to have done it.
So this is the 3rd time I've heard this line. I don't know who your guys' mentor is. That is a good line. It's just the problem is, I've heard it 3 times now in the past month. So I don't know. Maybe the method needs to be patched. It's it's the 3rd time I've heard it now.
And I have started in high ticket sales a few months ago, and I'm looking for my first role.
I would have brought that part to the start. I would have flipped it around. So I would have talked about, hey, this is my first role. I'm just starting out. I've invested in a mentorship. So put the bulk of your highlights and the good things towards the start, just to hook their attention. And then the other part that you put, you could do it towards the tail end.
If you take a chance on me, I'll become a top setter in the next few months, because I'll dedicate all my free time to doing my best for the team and from the company also. And I can start right now. If I'm the person that you are looking for, I'm more than happy to provide any detail that you need. If I'm not, thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Okay, so that was a good Loom video. It has a lot of potential. I would say Ines. I will give that a 7 out of 10. Like I said, just giving off the feedback, flip around the structure. So follow the 5-step structure, number 1. Number 2, have a bit of confidence as well. So be excited. Okay, this is your potential dream role that you're applying. You need to have that dream role mindset. Be more excited, show some enthusiasm. Any parts that you stutter or you show like lack of confidence, you want to cut that out. Like even go into your Loom video and edit it yourself. Cut out the bad parts, the silences. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Every time you show you're a bit nervous or you're uncertain, it just chips away a little bit at the prospect. It's just not going to be as good of a look compared to if you just had maximum confidence. All right, so I would cut out the parts where you seem uncertain. Other than that, decent structure, good presentation. It's 2 minutes, so that's on the longer side. I probably would have still tried to make it 90 seconds max, but that's a 7 out of 10. It has a lot of potential. And then yeah, just use this feedback moving forward. Okay, hope this helps you guys as well. All right, next up we have Mikael. So Mikael submitted his Loom video. We're gonna check this out. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and what to improve on next. So you guys can also implement it for yourself in your Loom video. Oh, okay. So this is, I wasn't expecting this, to be fair. This is a sales resume. I thought it was going to be a Loom video. Okay, so the Loom video is down here, actually. Let's take a look at that in a second. Editor, please blur out any sensitive info. But we're gonna read this. So Mikhail Randon, high ticket DM appointment setter. I'm 17 years old and a business student in high school. I have 9 months of hands-on experience as a DM appointment setter, working with high ticket offers. Since May 2025, I trained one-on-one under Matt Jacob inside the Oracle. So Mikhail, if you guys don't know, Mikhail actually used to be a student inside of the Oracle. Shout out Mikhail. And completed the program in July 2025, getting experience in client acquisition, pipeline management, lead qualification, objection handling. I've handled both inbound and outbound messaging, managed full DM sales cycles, and contributed to generating over 5 figures in revenue across multiple offers. I work with AI trading, car detailing, private chef, surplus funds, mentorship. So Mikhail here has a lot of experience, which is good, and he's flexing that. I would have also liked to have seen some specific numbers. So how much revenue exactly did you generate? What were your KPIs? I mean, the fact that you're 17, bro, like that's very, very inspiring, and that's very inspirational. I mean, the fact that you're 17, bro, that's already a really good sign because you're getting started early, you're young. And guys, if you're young as well watching this, don't let age be a factor as to why you can't get into this, all right? I literally have a 17-year-old, another 17-year-old in my community right now, and he's hitting like $1 to $2 grand weeks. It's absolutely insane. He's doing phone setting, he's dialing on the phones, Wolf of Wall Street style, but obviously ethical, and he's absolutely killing it. He's doing this while he's going to school, and he's 17 years old. He's absolutely crushing it. So don't let age stop you, but you just have to up your professionalism, and you have to come across a certain way. You have to come across like you're older than you're 17 years old or 18 years old. You want to come across much older and more mature than how old you actually are. So this is good so far, but let's take a look at the Loom video.
Hey, how are you guys? I know you probably get a lot of setter applications, and I know you just want to find a killer one, and your time is better spent in growing revenue and scaling the business, not chasing DM. So I make this quick and show you guys how I can make and how I can take DM work off your plate. So my name is Mikhail Rendon. I'm 17 and a trained appointment setter with 7 months of hands-on. Hey, how are you guys? I know you probably get a lot of setter applications, and I know you just want to find a killer one, and your time is better spent in growing revenue and scaling the business, not chasing DM. So I make this quick and show you guys how I can make and how I can take DM work off your plate. So my name is Mikhail Rendon.
Okay, I like that intro, Mikhail. I like that intro a lot. You know, just acknowledging the fact, hey, you're probably busy. I know you've got a lot of applications, so I don't want to waste too much of your time. The thing is, it did drag on for a little bit. Like, I think 10 seconds would have been okay because, you know, if you don't want to, you don't want to waste your time, and yet we're 15 seconds and we're only getting into like your Loom and your info. So I probably would have cut off like the last 5. But so far, so good with the intro. Good background. You're wearing a nice top, which is good. Good lighting. So yeah, let's continue.
I'm 17 and a trained appointment setter with 7 months of hands-on experience working with high-ticket offers. I invested in a one-on-one mentorship with Matt Jacob to really develop my sales skills. And I'm also a business student in high school, fully dedicated to my career goals and constantly learning about business and sales. I've worked both inbound and outbound, and in some cases I handled the closing process directly through DMs. For an AI trading offer, I managed the full DM sales cycle from qualification to objection handling to closing. And in a car detailing mentorship offer, I was their first DM setter.
All right, in terms of the energy and the conviction, I know you're 17, but it's good. Not over the top, but you're still confident. You seem grounded and you're calm. You have past experience, so this is a time where you'd mention that, which is good. Would have liked to have heard some specific numbers, some specific KPIs that you've hit. But other than that, so far so good actually. Compared to the first Loom video that we did, that me and Mikhail, compared to now, this is really good. This is much bigger improvement.
And book 100 plus calls in about 2 months and help them generate 10K in my first month.
Okay, so you did end up talking about numbers, which is good.
Now, in a private chef mentorship, I handled high volume outbound, reaching around 300 to 600 messages per day. And in a surplus funds mentorship, I hit KPIs consistently, doing an average of 5 or more book calls per day and help them generate 3K in 2 weeks. Now, across all of these roles, I built strong skills in communication, qualification, and pipeline management. And I'm coachable, consistent, and treat every offer like it's my own. And I'm confident that I could be a valuable asset to your team and support your pipeline and revenue. So catch you guys on the other side, and thank you for your consideration. God bless.
All right. Okay. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I think towards the very end, if you could put your personal why, that would be like the cherry on top. Just humanize yourself a bit more and make yourself stand out. Because you got to understand, yes, you're 17. Business owners might judge you for that. So you have to look at other factors on what's going to give you the edge. That's why I say bring up the personal why, bring up the personal motivation. How much do you want to make in setting? Why are you doing this in the first place? All that stuff. But other than that, Mikael, I will give Mikael, say 7.5 to 8 actually. Just make sure, also, I would say just smile a bit more. Like show some enthusiasm, a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more energy. Maybe cut down and trim the video a little bit more. Sometimes where you stuttered or you looked uncertain, just cut that out or maybe film a new one. But other than that, that's pretty good. And then we'll go to the last part of his sales resume. So his experience, which he's worked with trading offer, car detail, mentorship offer, private chef owner. So he does have experience he can leverage, and just leverage it as much as you can, like this. A testimonial as well, which is great. Having all the proof there, all the receipts, mentorship and training investment, boom, inside of the Oracle. So it's good that he's leveraging that. And then, yeah, some other stats, some goals. Mikael, you pretty much covered everything on your sales resume. I would have just taken some bits and pieces into your Loom and added that in. Like I said, your business goals, short and long term maybe, what makes you stand out, additional info as well. That would be cool. But yeah, 7.5 to 8 out of 10. So that's a pretty good, a lot of potential, just a few more tweaks to make and it'll be spot on, be good to go. So next up we have our guy Josh, submitted his Loom video for review. So we're gonna take a look at what he could improve on as well as what he did well. And then if you go into this one, this is a bit of a different approach, guys. So he pulled up with a whiteboard. Let's show you real quick. So what he's doing is, instead of a traditional talking head Loom video, he's doing a whiteboard. And I'm not saying this is the wrong way to do it. If you are more comfortable with a whiteboard and if you really have to as a last resort, then you can do a whiteboard Loom video, or you can do a slideshow. You could go in Google Slides, you can go in PowerPoint and make some slides yourself instead of a talking head Loom video. I would highly encourage you guys go for the talking head first, just because it does a better job of showing who you are. But if you have to do a whiteboard, then fair enough.
Hi, my name's Josh. I'm 21. I'm reaching out because I'm interested in a new setting role. So I don't want to waste your time. I'll get straight into it. I've been setting now for 4 months for Josh.WilliamsFX. He's a high-ticket trading mentor, 50K followers on Instagram. In this time, I've been quite successful. I've done my own scripts for leads, follow-ups, and outreach. If you're watching this video, probably means that my outreach message was pretty good, so that's a good sign.
Good humor right there, good wit.
My situation, so because it's been quite successful, I've moved out to Southeast Asia by myself. I just spent a few months in Thailand, and now I'm currently living in Vietnam. I love it here, it's very nice. I don't have a part-time job, I don't have a full-time job. All my hours in the day go completely towards my setting business, so great for me, great for you if I get hired, perfect. Although I have my offer with Josh Williams, I still have a lot of hours to put to use. I mean, there's only so many leads I can follow up each day on one account, so really I'm just trying to turn this time into money for me and for you.
Okay, one thing I like about this is he's just coming across authentic yet confident. Like, I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but it is super important. And also, he's showing that he doesn't have any other things going on. He's like all into this, he's full in, he's all in. He's burnt the boats. Even though he has another offer on the side, it still shows that, hey, despite the other offer, I can make this one work. I don't have any other part-time job. I don't have any other commitments. I'm out here in Southeast Asia by myself, so I have no choice but to make it work, or else I'm fucked. But that's what you want to do as well, is you want to show that, hey, nothing else is really taking up my time and my commitment. I'm showing signs that I'm all in and I'm serious, because of all the other people in the world who are actually not just not serious, not just logistically too, but mentally. But that's what you want to do as well, is you want to convey that I'm all in on this, my heart's fully into this, I'm going to give it everything I've got, or else there's no plan B, is there, pretty much. So that's what you want to convey as well.
So although I'm on a trading mentor setting role, I can do other niches. It doesn't need to be trading, whether it's fitness, Google ads, dropshipping, whatever it is, I'm more than capable. Jumping in team calls as well. I'm very team oriented, so I like to see the people around me successful as well as myself. That's why setting is actually a really good job for me. But obviously the things I can do for you, leads, equal appointments, follow-ups, outreach. Like I said, if you're watching the video, my outreach message is probably decent, so that's a good sign for you. And yeah, some information. I've booked over 100 calls so far in these 2 months. Made quite a bit of money, and I'm very happy, obviously being out here by myself. But yeah, I'm looking to turn my spare time into more money for me and for you. Hopefully that's what we can do. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer. I'll really look forward to hearing back from you. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.
All right, Josh. Did good there. You did pretty good, bro. So straight to the point. Again, this is on the longer side, so I will say I think the thing I keep bringing up the most for you guys is number 1, confidence. Number 2 is presentation, and number 3 is the length. Like, even if you can come in and up the playback speed, fair enough. But again, I'm a big fan of keeping things concise because business owners are busy. So make it nice, short, and sweet. Even then, though, this kept my attention, and this was a really good Loom video, despite it not being a traditional talking head. Despite it being a whiteboard video, I would say this is still pretty good. He covered the basics, had good confidence, followed the structure, and just showed why he'd be a perfect fit for your company. You know, he talked about why he's all in with this, what makes him stand out, his past results, his experience, like 100 calls. That's something you want to flex. So I would say this is an 8 or 8.5, Josh. So good stuff on this one. And yeah, let's move on to the last applicant. Okay, last but not least, we got our boy Raghav. So let's take a look at this Loom, shall we? Let's open this shit up. Okay, so far so good. Presentation. Presentation, good lighting, good background. You're starting off with a smile on your face, so can't ask for much more. Let's take a look.
Yo, Ange, what's up? Hope you
Okay, so this is directed to one of my students, Ange, because she's hiring at the moment for one of her offers. She's actually just been promoted to a setter manager, so congratulations, Ange. Well, if you're watching this, she's probably filled the role already, but anyways, let's move on.
you're doing well. My name is Raghav, and I know you'd be a bit skeptical about hiring someone who's from India, but trust me, I'm not a street food worker who makes food for free, and nor do I stink.
Okay, Raghav, bro, that shit cracked me up. That was good though. That was good. That got my attention. It showed you had humor, and you're unique. So, look, there's a big question going around this space about people from third world countries, about Indians, about Nigerians getting into the appointment setting in sales space. And I don't want to be here and say, hey, if you're Indian, if you're Nigerian, you're cooked, because I've actually worked with a lot of Indians and Nigerians, or at least have helped them. I actually know quite a few Indians and Nigerians who've gone on to fucking crush it in this space, making like even 5-6K a month, have been promoted to setter management. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I can't get into appointment setting because I'm Indian, or because I'm Nigerian, I'm from a third world country, well, you gotta think again. It's just the way of thinking is not gonna serve you. So you can do things like this, like what Raghav did, where he acknowledged the fact, hey, just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I'm working in the street, doing whatever he said. I'm not gonna repeat it. That's one way to stand out. That's one way to get your foot in the door. So good job on that.
I'm 20 years old, and I've been in this space for the past 1 year. I've generated over $65,000 in this past year. I started working with Joe Brightman, who is a fitness coach, and generated around $28,000 for him in just a single month. Later on, I hopped on with Rajan, whose offer was a trading offer, where I generated another $30,000 for him. Then I worked with big names like Dan Dolan and Tanish Kharjani on his personal brand.
Amazing. Okay. Stop there. Raghav, that's good. So again, you can go in. If you go in and edit your own Loom video, that's just gonna take it up a notch. So even just putting the people that you've worked with in the past, how much followers they've got, what do they do, and then on top of that, talking about your experience, how much cash you've generated. Like, this shit is what you want to put in your Loom video. This is what you want to highlight. This is what you want to flex. So that's good.
That really intrigued me about this offer was the personal brand side of it. I'm personally building a personal brand for myself, and to be surrounded by people who know how a personal brand can change one's life in the long term, who know about audience building and content managing, is something what I am looking something.
All right. So just for some context, Ange is hiring for a personal branding offer. That's their niche. So they help entrepreneurs start and scale their personal brand on Instagram, on YouTube, etc. And what Raghav did really, really well was molding himself towards that certain offer, right? I know some of you will not always be personalizing your Loom videos, but if you are going to personalize it and do one for each business owner you reach out to, it's going to help you a lot if you personalize your Loom video. So him showing, hey, I see you guys are doing personal branding. I've also done personal branding myself. This is how I've done it. This is why I find it really important. This is why I'd love to work on your team. So tailoring yourself to the offer is going to help you a ton. It's going to give you a lot of better chances. So let's say, for example, you're applying for a fitness offer. Well, if you work out as well, talk about that. Talk about why you're passionate in fitness. What progress have you made in fitness? Have you bulked up? Have you cut down? Find a way to make it personal if you want that extra oomph to your Loom video.
which could be a long-term commitment for me right now. I'm not looking for hopping from offer to offer. I want to grow inside a right environment. I need to sharpen my skills and eventually step into leadership as a setter manager. I recently graduated with my engineering degree and decided to not to take the traditional 9 to 5 route. I realized pretty quickly that I'm far more passionate about sales and building something of my own. So now I'm fully all in on high ticket sales and personal branding. I know.
All right, amazing. Showing that he's all in, showing the sacrifice he made so he would put his heart and soul into this, as well as that personal touch, that personal motivation, his goals, etc., etc.
But I'm extremely driven, extremely coachable, and willing to outperform most of the people in the room. I want to grow under someone who is operating at a much higher level, and I genuinely love the opportunity to work with you and prove myself.
Okay, Raghav, interesting stuff. So just for a little bit more context as well, Raghav did send me an old Loom video of his quite a while back, well actually a couple weeks ago or a week or two ago, and this one is, again, it's night and day compared to the old one. So hats off to you, bro. I actually don't have much feedback to say for this one, to be honest. He did a lot of different things right. He got the basics down, but he also did some advanced stuff in this, like editing his own Loom video, adding people that he used to work with in the past, mentioning numbers as well, good confidence. If you can maybe amp up the confidence and the energy a little bit more, because it's at times you did stutter and you did look unsure, then that would have been the cherry on top. But I would give this like a 9. Yeah, 9, even arguably a 9.5. I'm not even joking with you guys. That's pretty good, Raghav. So hats off to you. Okay, so there we have it, ladies and gents. We have just reviewed 6 Loom videos for an appointment setting in sales position. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of today's video. The feedback that I gave, the good, the bad, the ugly, as well as action steps. Yeah, let me know if you have any more critiques for our applicants here, because I'm sure they'll be reading the comments and they'll be seeing how they can improve as well. But if you guys enjoyed this video, then give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe. If you did want to work directly with me one-on-one inside of the Oracle Mentorship Program, where we help people get into appointment settings, start and scale so they can make their first 3 to 5K plus a month online, like the rest of our students, like Ange, who's on track to hitting a $5,000 a month just through texting people and sending DMs. Just like Evan, who's 17 years old, he's killing it. He's made 1K weeks. Just like Nicholas, who's made 4.8K in a single month while balancing his corporate 9 to 5 job. And just like many of our other students inside of the program who've gone to crush it and make a living out of appointment setting. So they can travel the world, make money, learn skills, and get into bigger and better opportunities like high ticket sales and starting their own business. So if you guys are interested in getting to that next level and getting that specific mentorship and help directly from us, book in a call down below where you're going to speak directly with me. We're going to see if we're aligned and if we can actually help you out in this process and getting you into this space. Coaching you on things like how to do your Loom video properly, how to do your outreach message properly, coaching you on how to get on an offer, how to make the right Loom, high-level appointment setting training. If you thought today's video was valuable where I reviewed people's Looms in real time, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we help people with inside of the Oracle. If you found this valuable, just think about what would be inside. If you want to do a round 2 as well, where you just send in your Loom video, I will critique it ruthlessly, then let me know as well and we can do a part 2 in the future. But anyways guys, hope you got a ton of value out of this and I will see you in the next one. Peace.